Wyatt, we have been tracking quite a bit of wet weather out there, and we've got some areas back into Mississippi where we've had quite a bit of flooding. As we take you over to our weather graphics here, and we're going to get to our first alert weather headlines, we're going to be talking about, well, it looks like as we move ahead, the wet weather becoming a bit more of a summer type setup where we have the scattered storms in the afternoon. I don't want to say completely dry, but thinning out in coverage once we get to around Friday and Saturday. Still tonight, tomorrow, into the day tomorrow, we need to watch out for some periods of rain. The mornings have been the popular time. I know today Matt and Mickey were tracking some of that rain during the morning. Tomorrow morning, more of that wet weather out there, and that same system evolved into quite the rainmaker. You look at the setup right now, there's some of that heavy rain that's been tracking to the south around Wetumpka, Montgomery, all these flashing polygons that you see back to the southwest. Those are flood advisories. We had flash flood emergencies across parts of Mississippi today. The amount of rain, it just shows you how quickly in a flash these flood situations can evolve. And areas in West Alabama, especially south of Tuscaloosa, we got some areas in here where we've measured over 5 inches of rain in the past week, and it wouldn't take much to cause some problems there. Thankfully, the rain rates have been less compared to what we were seeing back to the west earlier today. There is some rain, though, hanging on here around Rockford, and then especially further south you go, you get into the Alexander City area, down around Lake Martin. There's still some lingering wet weather, but it's very spotty the further north you go. A very soupy tropical environment that we have across Alabama tonight. When we get into these setups, you pretty much could deal with a passing sprinkle or shower at any time. So that's going to be the story. I wouldn't cancel my walk around the neighborhood. I think you're going to have some more pleasant conditions for that. But I want to start off showing you some of these rainfall estimates and just look at this, some incredible totals. Now let me show you where we're at here. There's Tuscaloosa, Utah. Here's Meridian, Lauderdale County, Mississippi, Newton County, and then you get over into or Newton, Mississippi, I should say, and then you get over towards Forest County and around Madison County and Rankin counties in Mississippi. That's where we had some of the flooding issues today. At one point, I-20 here around Forest was closed today because of the flooding. Look at this, over 8 inches of rainfall in Neshoba County here around Philadelphia. Yeah, it's just incredible how much rain fell in a 24-hour period here, so you can imagine the trouble spots. And notice how that swath of heavier rain totals continues near Boyd, Alabama, right there around Livingston and the Suquenuchee River area. That's where we have a flood warning right now. That's going to be south of Bologee, but all these areas back in towards Utah, to the north here, as far north as Knoxville. We need to watch it tomorrow again in the early morning hours, just in case if we get some heavy downpours, we could have some flooding, especially those flood-prone areas. The ground is super saturated, and that swath of heavier rain continues back into parts of Marengo County. So as we get back into the statewide view at the moment, or at least our area, if you look closely, you can see there's a little bit of a twist going on with the motion of this wet weather, and that's because we have an upper level disturbance. It's over the state right now. We have in the mid levels and upper levels, we have a disturbance that's going to stick around, it looks like, through tomorrow, and this troughing pattern is going to be with us through early next week. So at times, even though rain chances back off, we're still going to have some scattered showers and thunderstorms as we move ahead. But the rain has lessened up there around the Clanton area. As you can see here on our first alert 7-day forecast, we have that chance for a few scattered showers this weekend, but rain chances backing off with highs close to 90 degrees. And we're going to take another look at the 7-day forecast coming up. Also, we're going to have updates on what's happening in the tropics, because we have a couple of waves we're watching, and one right now that's really getting my attention. It's over the Atlantic. We're going to show you where that one's going, and it's kind of interesting. Today marks the anniversary of Hurricane Andrew. You remember that one from 30 years ago, struck South Florida. We're going to tell you more about that. The A-named storm, just think about it, this late in the season, and it was a bad one, later upgraded to a Category 5. We're going to dive into the hurricane known as Andrew coming up. More on the wet pattern. We've got an interesting story regarding dinosaurs and drought. We'll be back. We've got more. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
That's why we're getting answers on rising prices and how you can save some money.
And being another set of eyes looking out for your kids and your family.
Getting to the bottom of health and billing issues that may be hidden in the fine print.
How events nationwide are affecting you here at home.
WBRC Fox 6 is always here on your side, ready to help. This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
These are your mornings, and Good Day Alabama is built to start them right. The only station staying local on all platforms all morning long. In your community, giving you a deeper perspective with the largest team dedicated to you. Showing new stories from overnight, helping you get through your day. With First Alert weather and traffic, getting to the point, not wasting your time, these are your mornings. Prepare for a good day. Prepare with Good Day Alabama.
When moments turn severe, how do you find clarity?
This is your first alert from the WBRC Fox 6 weather team. We're with you as we prepare for this threat.
In a season of constant change, when you need to know first, when you need to prepare, only one team gives you the first alert wherever you are. A trusted team staying ahead of what's next in your neighborhood. Stay alert. Stay with the First Alert Weather Team. Live, new, and on your side, beginning at 9 p.m. In a day filled with clutter and noise, WBRC Fox 6 News breaks down what you need to know before anyone else. With new updates, live and on the scene, answers for your money and your livelihood, with 6 on Your Side investigates. And your first alert for the hours and days ahead with the WBRC First Alert Weather Team. On your favorite platforms every night. WBRC Fox 6 News at 9 and 10. On your side.
I'm meteorologist Lauren Linehan. We have been keeping an eye on the tropics for you. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt will take a further look into the tropics after the break. But first, we want to check in with Mickey Ferguson and meteorologist Matt Daniel, who take us back 30 years ago to a very impactful hurricane on this day.
All right, today is an anniversary that I know a lot of people never forget.
And never celebrate.
No, not at all.
It's Hurricane Andrew. 30 years ago, this Cat 5 hit the coast of Florida. And these are some of the images that we have of this system, credited to NOAA for providing this. But it's kind of interesting the technology wasn't as great back then.
That's right. But yeah, when it made landfall, it was initially thought to be a Category 4. Of course, after they saw the damage and got all these reports, they upgraded it afterwards as a Category 5. But this system was a very tricky storm. It formed fairly late. It's the first named storm of the season, and it formed in the middle of August. So here's a timeline of Hurricane Andrew. It actually moved off as a tropical wave off the coast of Africa. That's pretty common around this time of the year. It moved its way through the central Atlantic. It eventually formed into a tropical depression 2 days later on the 16th of August. And then just a day later, it became the first named storm of the 1992 season, Andrew. And then it took like 5 days, Mickey. It struggled out there.
They thought the shear was going to affect it and just kind of tear it apart, but it avoided that shear and became a tightly wound hurricane. And then landfall, as well later determined it was a Cat 5, but 165 miles an hour, 165 miles per hour over lots of an area. I mean, it's not the largest hurricane on record by any means, but it was tightly wound and very destructive.
Yeah, and it intensified quickly. As soon as it became a hurricane, it intensified to a major hurricane in a few days, and then it slammed right into the southern parts of Florida. Here's some imagery, once again, all by NOAA, showing you the stages of this.
Look at the eye wall. And typically you have your strongest winds to the right or to the east of the center of circulation, but that's so tightly wound. They're getting all kinds of damage and wind from this. These are the outer bands of that system, and this is the coast of Florida.
Yeah, so it slammed through parts of the Bahamas. Here's another imagery of this. And you have to remember, back in 1992, our technology, both in radar, satellite imagery, it's nothing like today.
Yeah, but still infrared satellite image of that, and a very distinguished eye wall. Look at the graphics back then. You can see the 24th of August, 1992 at 5 a.m. That's when the center of circulation came on shore and hit the southern tip of Florida.
That's right. It hit Dade County near just south of Miami. So Miami was technically spared. The strongest winds were just to the south, and that eye wall was definitely well defined, and it produced some intense wind. I would say for most of the storms we've seen make landfall, this one was probably more of a wind damager, you could say, more so than storm surge.
Well, if it had crossed over Miami, or if Miami was just to the east northeast of the center of circulation, we would have a brand new Miami, that's for sure.
Yeah, but you know, there was a lot of damage with this, and of course afterwards they had to change the entire system up with buildings and trying to construct them so they could withstand Category 4 or 5 hurricanes. But that is just impressive imagery right there from NOAA. Let's go ahead and show you more of this graphic showing you that timeline. It went right through southern parts of Florida on this day 30 years ago, back in 1992.
Early in the morning.
That's right. Moved pretty quickly and moved right back into the Gulf of Mexico, which of course we know around here, whenever you have a system in the Gulf, it's going to hit somebody else.
It's a shallow basin. The water is very warm, and you got that warm water, and you've already got a tropical system, so it intensified again and headed to Louisiana.
That's right. So it weakened a little bit, underwent an ERC, or what we call an eye wall replacement cycle. Sometimes it weakens temporarily, forms a bigger eye, and then re-strengthens. So it became a Cat 4 with 145 miles per hour, setting its sight into parts of Louisiana, and then ended up making landfall in the central parts of Louisiana, but it was weaker. By the time it made landfall in Louisiana, it was still a Cat 3, still a major hurricane, but winds were at 115. And overall, we're talking about 65 people passed away from Andrew, and it cost over $26 billion in damage. And at that time, that was one of the most expensive on record for hurricanes.
Oh yeah, it really was. And even today, $26 billion worth of damage. Pretty amazing. As we move along here, we can see the path that started out, of course, in the Atlantic, kept moving across here, and then it made that beeline for Louisiana. But if you follow this, we saw this move, the center of circulation of what was left of that, moved right through Alabama. We had some tornado warnings. I don't know if you remember back then, but it affected a lot of folks.
It did, and then it made its way, produced a lot of heavy rainfall. This is satellite imagery just south and east of Louisiana as it made landfall, and then of course once it made land, it weakened. But these are some of the visuals. This is once again all from NOAA showing that damage, and I'm telling you, when that storm went through southern parts of Florida, it looked like a violent tornado just destroyed everything.
Well, you think of 165 mile per hour winds.
What is that, 2x4 in a palm tree?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, a piece of wood just went right through
goodness, I just noticed what that is. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the power of
amazing.
wind.
And so many people are killed by flying debris in these types of situations. Like we said, this wasn't as much of a water event as it was a wind event. And you can just see, that just looks like matchsticks thrown around. The lumber, the construction, just debris all across southern Florida.
Yeah, just
amazing.
Intense, and
Andrew was here.
Just very devastating storm. And of course, you go into the late 90s, going into the 2000s, unfortunately, we've had a lot more storms that cost even more. You can think of many. Katrina obviously comes to mind. You got Sandy that hit the East Coast. Just lots of them. Harvey.
Yep.
So big question is, Cat 5 storms making landfall pretty rare. We've only seen 4. Now, we've seen many Category 5s. Katrina was at one point a 5, but it made landfall as a Cat 3. But we've only had 4. And the last one that's done so was Michael back in 2018. Then Andrew in 1992. Camille in 1969. That was devastating to the Gulf Coast. Also parts of Virginia, a big flood event there.
And they just called it the Labor Day hurricane.
They didn't name them back then. So that was the way to label it back in 1935. So we are remembering this day 30 years ago. And anything good that came from Andrew is that our technology, the way we forecast for hurricanes, it has gotten so much better with our advances in science.
And the technology as well. I'm not looking forward to any more of these, but at least we have the technology now that we can hopefully keep you better prepared and give you many days out. That's a good. If there's one good thing about hurricane forecasting, is you typically have several days in advance notice of basically where it's going to go.
And the last thing I'll just note is that 1992 was not an active season. It was only one storm that caused that much damage, and that's why we say from now on it only takes one storm. We're going to cross our fingers, hope this season stays quiet.
But if you think about what happened in the winter of '93, the blizzard.
Well,
of '93.
No correlation.
Yeah, but
it makes you remember those days.
Yeah, it makes you remember that time in history. All right, that's a look at this 30 years ago, Hurricane Andrew. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for that segment, Matt and Mickey. Next, we have Chief Meteorologist Wes White giving us a more current view of what could be brewing in the tropics in the days ahead. And of course, that Super 7-day forecast. And then meteorologist Jill Gilardi takes us beyond the 7-day as we inch a little closer to September. We'll be right back.
West Shore Home is America's leader in shower and bath remodeling. And today I'm joined by Kirsten from West Shore to talk remodeling and why you should consider starting your project now.
So Joe, we know how stressful it is to get a new bath or shower installed. So at West Shore Home, we make it fast, easy, and now even more affordable to get your shower or bath project.
Well, we know how you're making the projects fast and easy with the one-day installation, but how are you making things more affordable when the price of everything else seems to be going up these days?
So we know that we've had a rough few months with gas prices higher than normal and monthly budgets getting tighter. That's why we want to help everyone out. Right now, for anyone who calls in, we'll do free installation on all shower and bath projects. And on top of that, you can save your money and put it towards other bills because we're doing 18 months of no payment and no interest financing. That means you don't have to make your first payment until 18 months after your installation is complete.
So with that financing plan, people can stay flexible with their money while getting the shower bath they need now. That's super helpful.
It really is. We know that this is a busy time of the year for people, so you really should leave the stress of remodeling a bath or a shower to the experts. With our 18 months, no payments, no interest financing plan, that combined with our one-day installations, West Shore Home really is the best solution for your bath or shower remodeling.
Now, Kirsten, for somebody interested in starting their project now, what would be their first step?
So give us a call and we'll schedule an appointment at a time that's convenient for you. You'll see hundreds of customizable options that will bring new life to your bathroom. At the end of that appointment, we'll give you an exact price that's down to the penny, good for an entire year.
Wow, so even if you're not ready to get that shower project started now, you can lock in that price and not have to worry about any price increases for a full year.
Absolutely.
Wow, Kirsten, thanks so much. Folks, call West Shore Home now and take advantage of their Labor Day sale. It's free installation on all shower and bath projects, plus 18 months of no payments and no interest financing. Call West Shore Home now.
All right, time to check in on the tropics. Chief Meteorologist Wes White. We're watching two tropical waves here. There's going to be a lot of talk about this here over the next 7 days. We've got one wave that's about to enter the Caribbean here. And if you look at the American model, the GFS model, it had this thing spinning up into a tropical storm, tracking into the Gulf of Mexico. If you looked at it yesterday, saw a lot of folks sharing that. Well, today, that's not what it's showing. And the deterministic data is going to go back and forth on this. The long-range guidance, and especially the American model, it doesn't handle what we call subgrid processes well with respect to how storms develop, and that's why sometimes in the long range, you look at some of those long-range models, we're always seeing a big tropical cyclone in the long range, especially with the GFS. It's notorious for that, but some of the data is coming in line when you look at the ensembles that this one disturbance that's out over the eastern Atlantic, there's a chance this one could become better organized over the next 5 days. And this one, I know right now the Hurricane Center has 20%. I'd put an even higher percentage on this based on what I'm seeing in some of the data. And you can see in the cloud pattern that's going to be moving to the west direction, and there's a chance by early next week this thing could be somewhere out here across the central Atlantic, and we'll need to watch it there over the next several days. I certainly wouldn't cancel any plans you have, but let's just keep an eye on this one as we move into next week. This is what we call the Cape Verde season. this is the time of year, if you do see one of those easterly waves make it across the Atlantic, it's here during the peak of hurricane season. But at this point, no imminent threats, or if you have plans for this weekend, I'm not too worried about what's happening there along the Gulf Coast. We have this wave here we're going to watch. Right now we see it moving west. Global data shows us kind of drifting back in maybe towards Cozumel and that general vicinity. There's actually a wave spinning up right now, a upper level disturbance producing some unsettled weather. If you have a cruise, I know a lot of folks take the cruise. It goes down to places like Cozumel, Cancun, and in this general region. So if you are traveling in that direction over the next several days, there could be some unsettled weather from a tropical wave, but not concerned about a major hurricane. I know we were talking about Andrew a few moments ago, looking back at that particular system. Let's go to our First Alert 7-day forecast, and want to go through this. And first off, for tonight and into tomorrow, it looks like some unsettled weather with tonight's mostly just a few scattered showers. I don't see any major threat for storms out there tonight. But we get into our Thursday, and in the morning hours, that's been kind of the popular time here. We've seen quite a bit of wet weather. This is from the HRRR, some of the high-resolution data showing a good chance. This is forecast radar, by the way. You can see in the morning a good chance we could have some heavy pockets of rain again, impacting the drive, especially for those areas to the south, that rain lifting in. So we could be in for a wet start to the day, perhaps some breaks in the afternoon, kind of like what we saw out there today. I'm most concerned about the threat of flooding tomorrow in areas to the south and west. We got some locations in here. We've picked up over 5 inches of rain over the past several days, and it wouldn't take long with that saturated ground for some problems to develop. Specifically, I'm talking about Livingston, Demopolis, Bologee, and especially down into Marengo County, Thomaston, Linden areas. If you're watching me there, those areas will have to watch for that threat of flooding and on down into South Alabama. But there's 3 o'clock tomorrow and still a pretty good coverage. Chance we'll catch more breaks further north you go. Not as much rain, places like Coleman, and you further south you go, though, you can see quite a bit of scattered shower activity. But by the weekend, Friday, and especially into Saturday, we can't completely say goodbye to the rainfall, but it looks like the wet weather coverage starts to thin out a little bit. Let's show you Friday. This is some of the global data, and that's a look at Friday afternoon, and still some showers out there in the afternoon, especially south. But if this continues to trend in this direction, we're talking about maybe some breaks just in time for high school football for Friday night. It looks like the wet weather dissipating, more 70-degree temperatures for the evening. The temperatures this weekend, though, we start to shift into more of the traditional summer setup, what you would expect for the final days of August around here. We go into a pattern. We start in the 70s, we heat up into the 80s, and scattered storms most likely after lunchtime. So the greatest chance for seeing some wet weather this weekend will be afternoons. If you have morning plans on Saturday, you'll be in pretty good shape there. And the rest of the forecast is pretty much seasonal conditions. Notice this, the high temperature here recently, we've gone from 91 to 90. So we're on the downhill trend here as far as the average high temperature, but it has been nice to get out there, enjoy some of these 70-degree temperatures. Jill, I've actually been participating in the National Weather Association conference over the past couple of days, and it's happening in Pittsburgh this year. There were some big storms there over the weekend, but I just noticed that any break that I could catch, I was able to get out. I was attending virtually, so I was able to get out and enjoy some of these cooler temperatures, and it just felt incredible out there.
We needed the little bit of relief, and we've been getting that, that's for sure. And as you were talking about with the tropics, we're going to be watching that system, that second wave. And again, we're going to be talking about that wave maybe making its way towards Cuba as we head towards the 1st of September. Gosh, time is flying. Now, yesterday, remember I told you when it showed like a big massive hurricane that it was garbage and a likely change? Well, there you go. There you have it. It does show something in the Gulf around the 2nd, but we don't know if, if this will actually pan out. But again, 2 days in a row does indicate that possibility. So we'll be watching this as we get closer towards a Labor Day weekend. So maybe some rain for us, perhaps a tropical system, and maybe not. So we'll watch for that. Now, what it also indicates is that a more active pattern in the tropics might be setting up another tropical system back behind it. I did look at the European model. It does show a couple of features too as we go like 240 hours out. But again, we're getting into that time of year that that we're bound to see something develop at some point in time. But again, we'll be watching to see these trends. Let's see tomorrow what this model shows. Now, it is also indicating, of course, if we get more tropical moisture, we're going to have a higher chance for above average rainfall, especially along the Gulf Coast. And then in terms of temperatures, well, you have more clouds around like it's been, probably close to average, if not slightly below average. So looking good, and hopefully we get to enjoy more days where it doesn't feel so miserable outside. For now, we'll send it back to you, Wes.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us. This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
These are your mornings, and Good Day Alabama is built to start them right. The only station staying local on all platforms all morning long. Prepare for a good day. Prepare with Good Day Alabama.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
That's why we're getting answers on rising prices and how you can save some money.
How events nationwide are affecting you here at home.
WBRC Fox 6 is always here on your side, ready to help. This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
In a season of constant change, when you need to know first, when you need to prepare, only one team gives you the first alert. A trusted team staying ahead of what's next in your neighborhood. Stay alert. Stay with the First Alert Weather Team.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
Being another set of eyes looking out for your kids and your family.
This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
Live, new, and on your side. Beginning at 9 p.m., WBRC Fox 6 News breaks down what you need to know before anyone else on your favorite platforms every night. WBRC Fox 6 News at 9 and 10. On your side.
When 6 on Your Side investigates, the issues that directly impact you matter most to us.
That's why we're getting answers on rising prices and how you can save some money.
This is why 6 on Your Side investigates.
How will the weather impact your roads? The First Alert Weather app has live traffic updates and road conditions for a safer commute. This is why we First Alert.
WBRC Fox 6 News. On your side.
Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Meteorologist Lauren Linehan. We've been talking about the rain, especially for us here in Alabama, west of I-65 and south of I-20. But Mississippi has been dealing with their own flooding, as Wes was mentioning earlier. And first responders say the good news is, even though there has been some flooding at a nursing home, everyone got out safely. So we have this video here that we've been looking at, seeing all of this video that has been coming in out of Mississippi at this nursing home. The flash flooding earlier actually forced an evacuation. This video is showing staff and patients as they were taken to safety, and this is in Rankin County, which is east of Jackson. As we've been reporting on throughout the day, that area has gotten several inches of rain in the past few days. And if we go a little farther to the west, somewhere else that got flooding rainfall was Texas. The severe drought in Texas, though, before these floods came through, has uncovered a little piece of history. Dinosaur tracks from about 113 million years ago. Casual can be seen in a dried out riverbed in Dinosaur Valley State Park, which is near Dallas-Fort Worth. A park official says these tracks likely came from an Acrocanthosaurus, say that 5 times fast, which weighed 7 tons and reached 15 feet tall. The tracks in Dinosaur Valley State Park have been covered up again with river water thanks to rain over the last week, but park officials say that is a good thing because the water helps protect the prints from natural weathering and erosion. Looking pretty cool there. So, you know, we talk about what's going on here on Earth, but every now and then on Weather Extra, we'll take you to new heights. How about outer space? And space can be a little intimidating to us. We think about just that big black abyss, the great beyond. But have you ever thought about what it sounds like? NASA shared this 34-second clip of the Perseus Galaxy Cluster, which is about 240 million light years away from Earth. Scientists say the black hole sends out pressure waves that cause ripples in the hot gas, which can be translated into a note. To be clear, though, the actual note is one humans can't hear. Womp womp. It's about 57 octaves below middle C, so a little crazy just to even fathom that. But the folks at NASA say they shifted the note so we could hear it amplified, and that's what we're hearing in that. They kind of tweaked it a little bit, mixed it with other data they have about black holes, but we're always trying to mix and enhance things, especially on Instagram with filters, right? So we want to take one final look at your forecast here. We're going to pull it up. Let's see. There we go. That super 7-day forecast. So over the next 7 days, we've still got rain chances each day, but obviously, you have a typical summer day with those hit or miss storms. What we're going to be focusing on tomorrow is, again, that chance for a first alert for some scattered showers and some storms in the mix. We may manage to get a few degrees warmer, a few more breaks of sunshine. Of course, low 80s though, compared to 70s like we've been a lot this week. But by Friday, we begin to see that pattern change. Still going to see some hit or miss storms as we go into the weekend, but more breaks of sunshine should warm us up, and then kind of more typical August weather as we go into next week. But Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt will have an update on your forecast tonight and the latest on the tropics on First at 9. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Have a safe and happy Wednesday evening.